So thank you for joining us, Dr. Shavni Reddy. And it's our pleasure to you to be here and talking about more things about mother and their mental health. And we'll start with your journey and how you cope up with everything and your mental health, and then the other things you want to say to other mothers and want to bring out.
Sure. Thank you so much, Ritika, for inviting me, and a special thanks to Soul as well for inviting me yet again to share some of my heartfelt thoughts. Thank you.
Your pleasure. My pleasure. So we'll start and we'll explore how soon is too soon for mothers to find happiness and new partner after losing a partner or divorce. We'll be discussing all these topics and bringing out that change we want in women and mothers to be there and how they should cope up with things and manage things.
A lot of times, one gets asked, especially, doesn't have to be women alone, anybody who's gone through a loss or a breakup or a divorce, essentially a discontinuation of a relationship, right? A lot of times one gets asked, hey, what's next, right? Or sometimes the problem could be nobody actually poses that question about what's next. Both are dangerous. Loss is a very inevitable thing in life, be it a permanent loss or a temporary loss. When I say permanent loss, it could be a death, a temporary loss wherein it could be a breakup, or losses could be by choice or inevitable also. I might have chosen to leave somebody, or somebody might have been taken from me. Essentially, loss is inevitable in life. When we know that, and we human beings are social beings, and we are, a lot of us, draw that hope and courage and sense of life in living with people, be it family members, growing up with parents or siblings, and then finding love as you grow up, when you're married, or then when you raise your own children, right? A lot of us find hope, purpose, comfort, love, and courage in those human relationships. And when loss happens, be it by choice or by force, right? It kind of changes the entire dynamics of a human being's perspective about life. And one gets confused about where they are stuck right now. And especially when we talk about grief or loss, right? It's even more confusing because you're not prepared for it. This isn't what you have signed up for. And I'm talking about my story, right? It could be somebody else's also. And maybe somebody else is going through a story like this, which is made out of choice. Maybe you've chosen to, move apart from people.
Yes.
Either ways, it's confusing, it's troublesome, you let yourself question your existence, and you really don't know where you're headed, isn't it? Because this is
Yeah.
something that you expected. In that context, Ritika, what happens is either you get stuck in that zone and don't move on, or a lot of times you are pushed to move on because the world around you is moving forward and it kinds of pushes you forward, right? It could be your family members, it could be your colleagues or friends who mean well, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then, either of the situations, I think is tricky because everybody deals with loss differently. No pain is the same, no relationship is the same. It depends on what kind of relationships you've had, the kind of loss you've had, the kind of journey you've had post the loss, right? But
Yeah.
either way, question is, how soon is too soon, right? If
Yeah.
at all you are to move on with your life. And it doesn't have to be about another relationship that I'm talking about. If you want to move forward with your life, picking up the pieces, putting yourself together, and rebuilding your life in your own way. For some, it could mean, moving to a newer place. For some, it could mean finding a new work or job. For some, it could be changing the entire perspective of their life and doing entirely different. Or for some, it could mean actually finding another relationship and building life, right? And all of these are okay, and if somebody chooses not to do this, is also okay.
Also
But
okay.
the point is, do we even bring ourselves to that place where we want to move forward? I think that is key. In both of the cases, either because of a loss or a divorce or a breakup, being stuck in that zone of loss and depression is detrimental to human existence because your life has to move on. And I think there's an important question that comes in wherein a lot of us ask ourselves, especially, when you're going through grief or a very bad breakup or a divorce, right? Is like, was it all worth it? And do I really want to move forward or should I give up? You know,
Hmm.
mental health gets affected in different forms. Some people experience severe depression that it becomes difficult for them to get back to their normal routine at all. Now, in the
Hmm.
context of this, if we have to talk about how soon is too soon, right? If
Yeah.
at all you're trying to move forward with your life, if you're somebody who's seeking love and who's always found that comfort in a relationship, and you're comfortable doing that and you want to do that, I don't think you can define that time frame as a generic slab for everybody, Ritika. You can't define and say, and a lot of times we hear this, right? Hey, it's been 2 years, you've got to move on. It's been 4 years, you've got to move on, right? You hear those voices also. And on the other side, oh, it's just been 2 years. Are you
Yeah.
already? Oh, it's just been 3 years. You're already discussing this. They're both sections. That's the job of the society and the people
Society.
around.
Yeah. It's the
Who are
norms and
out.
expectations that influence our timing, which we don't have to, be.
Absolutely.
We don't have
Absolutely.
to settle on that. It's our timing. We want, if we want, it's 2 months. Okay, I want to move on. I want to move on. It's
Yeah,
been two
yeah,
years.
yeah,
So
yeah. And what we I think a lot of us, especially in a society like ours, a lot of these decisions get influenced by things outside of us, people
outside.
around us, family, society, a lot of it, and we let them do it to us. And I'm not saying one is right and one is wrong. All I'm trying to say is, if one is an individual, and if this is our life, my life that I'm dealing with, it is my relationship that I've lost, it is my love that I've lost, it is my grief that I am dealing with, then it is my life ahead that I have to think of also. And a lot of times it gets complicated, especially when you have children. When you're raising young children, or doesn't matter what age, right? And you have those responsibilities as well, but then you also have your own identity and individuality as a person. So what if somebody has gone through a bad breakup, but they are able to come over it in a very short span of time, but they are somebody who's open to love? Nobody gets to judge them about it. But what we do is, innately we let the world pass those judgments, and we take decisions based on that. Now
And
that
that.
causes stress, and that causes a lot more burden on our mental health, and the challenges we might have been already fighting because of the loss, be it depression, be it insomnia, be it anxiety, be it the fear of future, or whatever insecurities, they only increase when we let the outside world decide what we
Yeah.
got. I think the timelines cannot be defined, Ritika.
Yeah.
I don't think you can define a timeline and say how soon is too soon.
Too
It could be,
soon.
like you rightly said, right? It could be a couple of months for somebody. It could be 3, 4 years for somebody. But what is important is, in both the cases, right?
It's your
What kind
time.
of mindset you are in post
Yeah.
the loss, how you have processed that loss,
Loss.
have you handled your emotions rightly? Are you in a state of mind where you can give back? You
Yeah.
can give to people, and from a place of openness, right? Not from a place of confusion, not from a place of doubt, not from a place of insecurity. So that is important. If you have moved from a state of insecurity and pain and loss to a little better state of
State.
being able to give, accommodate, love again. I think that is important. And I don't think these things go away from our lives, Ritika. We've all grown up. Do
Yeah.
you think we forget any memories from childhood? We
No,
don't, right?
we
They're
don't.
still there.
They're still
Memories are
there.
always there. Yeah. So a bit of pain will always linger. A bit of probably, discomfort will always
Some
linger.
moments come and you like go back there and then relive that moment and then come back to your normal life and just live.
Yeah. Yeah, what is important is you let those emotions pass through your life, you process them. Grief doesn't go away. I was doing an interview yesterday, and this is exactly what I said. People expect grief to go away. That's a wrong notion. You're never going to lose that
Mhm.
grief. There's a beautiful quote by somebody which says, grief is just love with no place to go to, or you don't have somebody to give that to, that love becomes grief actually, because you've lost somebody and you're grieving them.
Yes.
Now you'll always miss that person. That grief is never going to go away, but it doesn't have to take control of your life in a negative way. Those memories can become positive,
Positive.
fueling energy for your life. That grief, which begins as a negative emotion, can become a transformative emotion in your life, that you take that experience and become a better person and move forward. So if you come there, where you're able to forgive, where you're able to comprehend that loss,
Loss.
and now again open to giving, I think that's the right time. And I don't think you can define as too soon or too late. And this is what happens with the society, where people tell you that it's either too late or it's too soon. I don't think both are true. It depends on your mindset, and it's completely up to you as a person, when you're ready. And like I said, Ratika, some people may not want it anymore, right?
Yeah.
I might say that, what, I'm in a state of mind where I want to explore my work, or I want to explore my passion, I want to explore something else in life, or I'm happy, raising my child, I'm doing something else in life. I'm just not interested in being with somebody. That's completely fine. It's their choice. But if somebody wants to, I think what's important is they process their current emotions correctly, and are able to give back again, and that's the right time, I think. And I don't think you should define a timeline like that, and it's not correct.
You were talking about being a mother. This whole month May is about mothers. And one thing I wanted to ask is, like, being a mother and then finding a new partner have a direct impact on your children. How do you manage if you want to move past that relationship and also be a good mother to your children, and then balance both out? How do you make them understand that this is my life, I am also an individual who wants to live, who wants love, and I'm also a mother who wants to give you love and attention and all those things?
Lovely question, Ritika. In fact, today on account of Mother's Day, I just penned an article about young mothers and me time, why it is important for
Yeah.
that. And one context I've addressed there is guilt. As mothers, innately, at least the mothers I have seen growing up here in our country, commonly, most
Yeah.
common emotion I've observed in them is guilt, right? And you know what that guilt is about? A lot of times I've seen mothers feel guilty about seeking their own happiness.
Yeah.
They feel guilty to want anything. They don't allow themselves to want anything. And, inadvertently, the immediate response that comes is, and I think that's natural as a mother and not just to human beings, right?
Yeah.
Even animals who raise children, right? Their babies, I'm sure they prioritize them. I'm sure they take care of them, feed them, bring them things. And if there's only so much to feed, let's say, I'm sure every mother on the planet would want to feed the baby and not think of themselves. And I think that sacrificial nature, nurturing nature comes to mothers naturally. And there's nothing wrong about it. But it doesn't mean you discount yourself as an individual. I am a 36-year-old mother raising a 7-year-old baby girl, but I'm also a 36-year-old individual, a girl who's grown to this age, who has an individuality,
Yeah.
who has her life, who's had her emotions, who's had her dreams. I still do. And it doesn't change when I turn 50, 70, 80. Maybe my dreams will change into something else. I might grow into a better person or a matured person or whatever, right? I might change. My personality might alter, but I'm still an individual. Unfortunately, a lot of times, and this is my honest plea to every mother out there, including to my own self, that we do not have to discount ourselves as women and individuals to be decent mothers to our children or to be decent wives to our husbands. No, these are roles we play, responsibilities we undertake. And I'm sure we all try to give our best to those relationships. But the most important relationship of it all is the one we have with ourselves. If
Ourselves.
I cannot keep myself at peace, if I can't love myself decently enough, how am I ever going to translate any of it to my family members and to kids also? So, one is, I think you use that word. How does a mother take this context? If you're trying to move on with your life after a loss or a breakup, right? And you have children, how should a mother look at it with the perspective of the children? And how can she still be a good mother? You used good there. Now, I'm
Yeah.
happy you raised that word. I'd like to address it. First of all, me wanting to be me has nothing to do with I'm good or bad with my child, because these
Yeah.
are different relationships, Ritika.
Yeah.
And we hardly realize that the relationship I hold with my child, I love her dearly to the core, right? Um, but I am a mother to her. To me, I am me. I also have a relationship with me, and this probably is the longest I've had with anybody, isn't it, Ritika? I've
Yeah.
known myself the longest. I've loved myself the longest. And I'll
Love
tell
it.
you another funny thing. We have learned to love through us. We have learned pain through us. How do you think we know love? We would have felt it, right? Growing up as
Yeah.
a child with somebody. So every emotion in life has been taught to me through me. Now,
Yeah.
I can't forget that this comes first, right? Now, that doesn't mean you discount everything else. No, each has a place. And I think as mothers, at least me as a mother and to every other mother out there, number one, I don't think you should feel guilty about seeking your joy and happiness and peace. That is a basic necessity of any human being, irrespective of you're a mother or not. You've got to take care of yourself, and self care is important. Two, being good to yourself, seeking your happiness doesn't mean you're being bad or wrong to any other relationship, as long as you're cognizant about how you're taking care of your child or how you're being responsible to them. You've asked a good question. How do we deal with the children in this context, right? It's very, very simple, Ritika. People complicate it. As long as my motherly behavior with her, being me with her, being a friend to her, or being whoever I want to be with her is still respected from my end, and I give that share of love to her, there is no reason why I should feel worried or threatened or troubled at all. But it comes from a place of deep confidence that I know I'm giving my best to her, and I will have to continue to do that to her because she deserves it as a child, right? All the more for someone like me. This is my story. I'm a single parent. I've lost my husband, right? Now I'm the only parent she has got. Now there is a certain way we've built a bond. There is a certain way I've helped her find security within these difficult times because she's too young, right? Now I wanted to make sure she doesn't, of course she feels the loss, but I wanted to ensure I am being my best with her.
Best.
Now,
Yeah.
as long as I continue to do that, there is no reason why I should worry about, how I continue to love myself. And there is nothing wrong in loving oneself. And we shouldn't feel guilty about it. And if there are men and women out there, and it doesn't have to be just about women and mothers, right, Ritika? Loss is loss for anybody. Any single parent out there who's raising kids at different age groups, when you're trying to move on and build newer relationships or bring somebody into your life, I think it gets tricky, especially with the age of the children that you have also. Because if you have a younger child, then there's a certain way that you will have to bring them along the journey. But if it is
Yeah.
an older child that you have, where they have grown into certain state of experience and emotions and they've seen life to some extent, then probably there is a different way of bringing them along the journey. But either ways, I think as long as you are confident about the kind of relationship you will continue to have and you had with
Right.
your child, I don't think it should be an issue, because what I believe is, Ritika, children behave in response to our behavior. So
Yeah.
if I am able to help her feel secure, if I am able to show her enough love, if
Enough
she
love.
feels secure enough with me, I don't think these things become an issue at all. In fact, they come along as allies with you.
You.
Um, Children are such a blessing, Ritika, and I don't think because of a loss, when we find ourselves alone, I know it's painful, hurtful, difficult in many ways. It does burden us, but I think the way to look at it is children can be such a blessing because they can be those allies with you in that
You have to
journey.
bring them along in that journey and make them understand. And also, it's a very beautiful journey. I think being a
Yeah.
also being a single mother, you just have that love from your children, and like, okay, I have them, I have me. I'll survive that life. I'll make it happy. I'll make it beautiful.
Yeah. There is always two ways of looking at it, looking at life, I think that's how at least I see it. You can either think that, oh, nothing is a miracle, life just happens like how it has to happen, and that's one way. The other way of looking at it is looking at everything as if everything is a miracle, right? Like, oh wow, oh, this is a beautiful relationship that I get to build with my child. Now, not that I would dream and want of it like this and I wanted this to happen, right? But
Yeah.
this is where we are. See, we
This is
can't
where
live in
we are.
denial, right, Ritika? That's what I'm saying. For people who are trying to move on, it's essential for them to come to this reality. Until then, they shouldn't be considering things, because the reality they should come to is to accept that this is real. We can't deny any of it. What has happened. It's the past now. It doesn't have to go away. It stays with us, but in a beautiful way, strengthening us, helping us move forward. So the way I look at it is, use your children, use in the right sense, right? Make them your
Yeah.
friends, be their
Strength.
friends, right? And bring them
Yeah.
along the journey. Now, where it becomes a difficulty is if you start brushing things away and shutting things away, not talk and communicate, and kind of avoid, then it becomes troublesome, because then over time, a lot of things would have piled up which we've never addressed and discussed. And 5, 10 years down the line, both of us, all of us become different beings, right? When we grow,
Yeah.
the child also grows up, you also grow up, and all of these unaddressed emotions become difficult in many many ways. And I'm not saying that, I'm not telling anybody that you should talk today, tomorrow. No, I'm saying we should all look towards communicating, include.
Communicating.
We shouldn't discount children, because the emotional intelligence of kids, especially younger kids, is amazing, I tell you. They observe a lot, they
Yeah.
absorb a lot. We think they may not be, and we might discount a lot of times, saying that it's a theek hai, bachcha hai.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think so. I don't think so. In their own way of interpretation, they observe, they see, they hear. But the point is, they can't interpret those emotions correctly, right? When they're going through loss and grief, and now you're talking about love and life again, they get confused. So the right way to deal with it is communicate with them clearly, make them your allies, and they can be along your journey. They don't have to be separated out. And any human relationship, Ritika, I think, stands on feeling secure.
Yeah.
Relationships where you feel secure, doesn't matter, it could
Secure.
be your parents, your siblings, your friends,
Heard,
or your,
secured.
yeah,
I think
yeah.
heard is also a emotion or something that I want from everyone out there who are surrounded by me. That if I'm saying something out loud, I want to be heard and understood. That yes, I'm saying this for a reason, and there is something behind it that comes from me, and I want you to just understand me from my perspective.
Absolutely. And you made a good point about being heard, right? And one difficult thing, especially with children and parents, is children express in different ways, especially younger children, since they don't have,
Yeah,
they may not express as enough, but they do have an expression. They do say a lot of things, but it is for us to be cognizant, to observe and catch those things, right? For example, my child is very, very interested in sketching and drawing. She speaks very freely with me as well, but there are a lot of times when she would have left a drawing which has said a million words than a
yeah,
conversation that we would have had. And that little picture, that little drawing, says a lot. It could be a picture of a family she's drawing, it could be a picture of a happy expression she's drawing. But it's important for us to listen to those nuances and then have a conversation with them. I think communication is key, Ritika. As long as you communicate
yeah.
and make them your partners in your journey, I don't think we should worry at all.
Yeah. Communication, and also I think communication to the right people. Like if you communicate to everyone around you, you make them understand, that will not work. For example, the society, you don't have to care about them that much. You just have to care about the partner you're going your life with, and your children and your family, your close family, that you want to make them understand that yes, I'm doing this for myself. You don't have to communicate to the whole world that I am right, I am doing the right thing, because they will not understand at the end of the day, because it's you who are going through that. They will not understand. It's very
Absolutely.
difficult.
Absolutely. And this is what I've started off with. Most of human suffering is because of the expectations that we try to
Yeah.
live up. Now, the day you realize that this is you as an individual and this is your life and your journey, and you have to take accountability for good or bad and move forward with it. And when you are making those choices, you should make sure your expectations are also aligned with either your thoughts or the ones closest to you, whom you love and who matter. Now, I'm not saying that be inappropriate or go against the community and society, but
Yeah,
a lot of times these definitions of what is right and wrong is defined by a perspective of somebody else who has no context, or
yeah,
by societies who have nothing to do with this. For example, if I am going through a deeper grief and loss and fighting depression, let's just say, and I want to drop work and go away and find help, the society and people around might think otherwise, right? But they might say something else. But who is to take that decision, right? That's what I said. You need to take accountability for yourself and think that,
yeah,
oh, this is my need. I need self care right now. I cannot manage the situation. I
yeah,
have to get help. Only then I can be a better person, better mother for my child. That's a decision I will have to take, irrespective of what anybody else might say. Now, for that, Ritika, one needs to be very, very secure with their
yeah,
own thought process and individuality, and there's nothing wrong about it, as long as you know you're doing it for the benefit of your life and your families and your child's. I don't You can't take the whole world along with you.
yeah.
You can't please everybody. I think the suffering is because you try to please everyone. I
Everybody.
don't think one should do that. And especially people who are probably on a similar journey like mine, or something closer or different, especially with grief or loss, or we are talking about relationships and loneliness, right? If you're there on a similar journey, a lot of times one feels that nobody else understands them, and you shouldn't expect them to understand, because this
Understand.
is a unique experience. Nobody will
Yeah,
ever know what it feels like unless they are in your shoes, and expecting them to understand it is horrible. Don't expect them to understand it. I don't expect everybody to understand what I feel in the middle of the night, no. But I need to understand and acknowledge what I'm feeling. Oh, I'm being troubled, I'm not okay. That is something I have to come to my realization and find help.
yeah,
I don't think you can't please everybody and anybody, Ritika. The only person you should be pleasing is your own conscience and soul.
yeah. That way you can, sleep peacefully at night and
Yeah.
yeah. Something you want to say to the other mothers who are going through it, some advices you want to give to them regarding their journey.
Mothers, okay. Since it's also Mother's Day today, and the month, I think entire month you guys are celebrating motherhood, and also it's Mental Health Awareness Month, both of them together. I wouldn't call it an advice, Ritika, but I'd like
Mhm.
to share a few anecdotes with other mothers, who are either battling mental health challenges as mothers, right? And the reason I'm talking about mothers specifically, not just because it's Mother's Day or the month. I know the stress that a mother goes through compared to doing it alone without a child. I know what it feels like, how burdensome it feels like, because I've experienced that. You doubt a lot about yourself, you get confused, but then you're also pushed into guilt, thinking that, oh, I can't allow myself to do this because I have a child. You want to break, but you cannot allow yourself to break. I know how it causes stress in mothers. So especially to mothers, right, who are battling loss or single parenting, for whatever reasons, right? I think first and foremost, I would say, is stop feeling guilty. Start prioritizing yourself. Your children are important, but the only way we can treat them important is if we take enough care of ourselves. I think that we a lot of times forget. So one thing is, take care of yourselves. And when I say take care of yourselves, not in a generic way, I'm being very specific. Watch out how your health is headed, because your physical health is also equally important, because you want to have that responsibility fulfilled, right, with your children. And when you are alone, it becomes all the more difficult. So I understand that. So being physically fit for a mother is very, very important. So taking that 30-minute 40-minute break, even in the morning or in the evening, at any cost, to work on your body is important, because nobody else is going to do that for you. A mother never prioritizes what she's eating. She's all the time focusing on what have I fed the child, what is the child eating, not eating, right? Unless and until it's your mother who comes and reminds you. We as mothers don't really do that. But I think this I say both as a doctor and as a mother myself to every mother out there. Please eat right. Please take care of your physical health, because as we age, as we grow, there are a lot of issues that crop up because of stress, because of hormonal imbalances. And being healthy is the first thing we need to do if we have to manage our lives. Number one. Second, I spoke about physical health. So take time to spend on yourself. Give time to yourself and don't feel guilty. Second, mental health is equally important. Not talking, not discussing, not communicating, and just taking in, thinking that, oh, I am the mother, so I'll have to take, but not vent. It's like that. If it's like a continuous inlet, right? Inflow, and there is no
Yeah.
outlet. What do you think is going to happen? At some point, it's going to either blow
Yeah.
or it'll cause a disease inside. Do you know there's something called as psychosomaticism? If you do not treat your mind right, it translates into a physical disease. So that is why a lot of women who battle stress for longer years, physically or mentally, they kind of turn into, the conditions which are, either chronic pain, chronic inflammation, hormonal imbalances, weight gain. All of these become a part of our life. And then as time goes by, Ritika, we all know that, you should be the first person to take care of yourself. And if we are not doing that, so this is my, I'm not saying advice, but my request to all the mothers, please give some time for your physical health. Please find outlets to de-stress. Now, a lot of them ask me, what do we do? I'm busy raising my child, I'm busy working. What do you mean outlet? I don't know. I did a video yesterday for a channel here, and I said, for a mother, some mothers like just spending time walking or jogging. Some mothers might want to listen to music. Some mother wants to just talk and gossip with her best friend once in a week and went out. It could be her sibling, it could be a friend, or a mother wants to probably go to, I don't know, some people seek spiritual help, some people seek
Yeah.
yoga, meditation. Doesn't matter what the outlet is, but every mother needs a breathing space, Ritika. If they don't let it out in some form or the other, there are a lot of mothers today we see crazily traveling, going everywhere,
Yeah.
and then people say, oh wow, is she doing this now? Why not? Whatever works for you, right?
Work for you.
Somebody wants to, let's just say that your mom gets up today after this interview and says, hey, I have always wanted to dance.
Yeah.
Here's where I want to join the dance class. I'm telling all the children, please encourage your mother.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what age, doesn't matter what she is. She could be a doctor, lawyer, or a homemaker, doesn't matter. If your mother says, hey, I want to learn Zumba, go drop her today, or
Yeah.
let her to the vehicle and go. Or a mother says, all I want to do is spend, maybe one day away with my friends. It's okay, you know. But what's important is to find that outlet. And to mothers, right? Have a routine in which you have some form of this every day. It could be breathing exercises, it could be yoga, it could be music, doesn't matter. Just put on your headphones and going away into the garden or somewhere for 15-20 minutes every evening to kind of calm down, right? That helps. Simple things help. I'm not complicating and saying that, like zindagi na milegi dobara, take a European vacation. I'm telling possible things, right?
Possible.
Practical things.
Yeah.
This is what it is. Start taking care of your physical health, single moms or any mothers, but this is my specific message and request to single moms. We need all the more energy because we are taking dual responsibility. And sometimes I'm raising a single child, but some mothers are raising two children,
Two
three
children.
children, and they have businesses to run. Some are working, some may not be working, but they have so much to handle at home. You need to be physically fit, eat right, watch your plate, have a physical routine, do find some ways to de-stress, and doesn't matter how crazy outlets they are. And my request to children is, please look at your mother as just as another younger version, just as who you are. She's been there. She's no different. She wants to speak to, she wants to talk to, she wants to have those conversations. It's just that she doesn't know who to have it with, probably because there's no way she's going to have them with you as a child. But if you've observed your mother seeking something like that, right? Hey, I want to join something or go somewhere. This is my request to the children. Not that she needs your permission. Like I told
Yeah.
you, right? Guilty. Oh, I can't go. I need to give
Go.
this time to them, right? I'm not saying she needs your permission.
We
She
need
will
to
never
push them.
consider.
Yes,
She doesn't
go
consider it,
live your
right?
life. You don't have to
Yeah.
be just, it does not have to be us. You have your own life. Go live that.
Yeah, I'm not saying she needs your permission. It's just that
Yeah,
she will not think of herself most of the times. But if you are a mother out there who's doing all of this already and taking some time for yourself and taking care of yourself, more power to you. You're doing the right thing and don't feel guilty about it. And don't let anybody make you feel guilty. Wear what you want to wear, go where you want to go, do what you want to do, as long as it gives you mental peace. That's the most important, because when you come back home every day, mom, you need to be your best version. I know that's what you want to be for your children, and that's the only way possibility is this, keeping your sanity intact. And for that, go do whatever crazy thing that you want to do.
yeah. Thank you so much, Dr. Shavani, for this amazing session. It was very light session, and wanted to talk about this topic so much. Being a daughter of a single mother, it's like we connect through that, and it was wonderful.
Thank you so
Thank
much. Then lots of love to your mother as well. And while I sign off, one last thing to mothers, especially who feel guilty about seeking love if they want to. There's only one statement I've made all through the interview: whatever you want is okay. If
yeah.
you don't want something, it's okay. But allow yourself if you want something, and don't let the society push you if you do not want something. It should be, at the end of the day, your choice, and it is okay. So go live your life. And life is too short, we know. But I'd like to say, at the same time, we have enough also if we want to live. So we should find those moments. So go out there.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shavani.
Thank you, Ritika.
Thank you.